Very good afternoon, all the medicos. I hope you must be full of energy level now after giving your INICT examination, and we are very proud. We are very proud to share that most of the MCQs were from the gold standard class notes of DAMS. Beta, today's session, today exam again proved. Today exam again proved. Okay, yeah, if you revise, focus on gold standard class notes, and if you revise the things again and again, you will be on the other side of the game. Clear? And all the students, first of all, I will be just taking this opportunity. I will be taking initial 4-5 minutes to give you a message. Okay, beta, today exam, even if we have not performed well, it should be a eye opener for everyone. It should be eye opener for all the students. Okay, yes, we have to focus on class notes. Am I understandable? Are you getting this point? If you have revised the class notes, minimum 4 to 5 times, today the INICT examination was a cakewalk. They have given straightforward MCQs from the class notes. Will be updating all the MCQs shortly, and take my word, and the whole team, DAMS team, is very happy. Yeah, everything was there which we taught you in this hard time of lockdown, and we are expecting and we are confident that most of the students will be again from the Damsonians will be getting the top ranks in INICT examination. But yes, those students who couldn't perform well in today's examination, beta, nothing to worry. We will make our target for the next NEET examination. Now 11 September should be our target, where we should focus on the class notes. Clear? So this will be a strong message to everyone before this session. What is my aim of this session on this day? I just want to convey the how we will approach the upcoming MCQs, how we will approach the NEET examination. So upcoming NEET examination, how the clinical vignettes will be there, and you people should not be having any pressure of clinical vignette beta. What my logic say, clinical vignettes means 5-6 lines, 5-6 lines means 5-6 key points, and if examiner is giving me 5 to 6 key points, it will be a easy game for me to crack. Am I understandable? So with this strong message, let us have this discussion, and I welcome everyone on this platform on the behalf of DAMS family. You are free to ask your queries, beta. We will be having a nice chit chat on this platform just to crack all the basic concepts of ENT. Apart from that, if you want to discuss any point, you want to ask me any query other than these MCQs I'm sharing, you can ask. You're most welcome. And I've taken 3 important MCQs for you people, so that I can cover 3 important topics for you from where the MCQs will be there. Clear? The first MCQ, I'm giving you a 50 long history given, and the examiner is giving you some images. So let us crack one by one each and every point. So what should be the approach in your upcoming NEET examination? Beta, focus your eyes on the board. 56-year-old man with presented to the ENT department with 3-month history of nasal obstruction, loss of smell. So the first important keyword examiner is giving you, okay, the patient is having nasal obstruction with anosmia, loss of smell is there, and or on the left side or the right side. Okay, there was no history of epistaxis. What is the importance of this point? When we'll be going for the options, we'll be understanding the importance of this word. No history of epistaxis, hearing loss, vertigo, or TLGI. It means that somewhere there is no any mass which is causing bleeding. Epistaxis is there. So which options I can rule out? This I will be sharing in the next couple of minutes. So I'll be taking back. It's why I'm teaching you in this way. Just remember, beta, other than the positive history, the negative history given by the examiner help you in ruling out the option. Clear? The ear canal, tympanic membrane tuning fork test are normal, given by the examiner based your time. Jump on the words. So what the art I'm teaching you on this platform, just jump on the keywords. So on nasal endoscopy, there was a pearly white polypoidal mass. Pearly white polypoidal mass. You are Dr. Deepak student. You have attended my lecture in DAMS. Pearly polypoidal mass in nose. Sir, I have 3 options in my mind. I'm not showing you any image, but I'm not showing you any image given in the examination. I'm just going step by step. So we'll be taking baby steps to crack this clinical vignette. Polypoidal mass, 3 points come in my mind. So it can be nasal polyps. Yes, it can be nasal polyps. Second option comes in my mind. So it can be papilloma. It can be papilloma. either it can be ethmoidal enteroconal polyp that we categorize in nasal polyps, or it can be papilloma. And the third option comes inverted papilloma. Third option comes in is here inverted papilloma. Aim of this session is to give you a message, to teach you a skill of attempting the MCQ. Beta, am I understandable? Are you getting this point? White polypoidal mass hit in your mind, just it should click in your mind. It should be nasal polyps or papilloma or inverted papilloma. What is the fourth possibility? You people tell me. If I change the age of the patient, if I change from 56, I'm giving the age 1 year. 1-year-old child is having this type of presentation. I will suspect. I am waiting for a response in the chat box. Everyone, if it is 1 year old, if it is 1 year, if it is 1 year, if it is pediatric patient in the history, white polypoidal mass in the nasal cavity, what diagnosis should come in your mind? I'm waiting for a response in the chat box. Yes, Dr. Narendra, Dr. Akash, can you tell me what option, what will be the right answer if it is a pediatric patient? If the history is going with a pediatric patient, it will be intracranial mass. Always remember, beta. So it is herniation of the tissue, but the age is 56, so I'm ruling out this option, but this point should be in your mind. Polypoidal mass in the nose, pediatric patient, I will be going for somewhere intracranial mass. Intracranial mass. I am teaching you the approach to the MCQ. Now, this is coming from the lateral polypoidal mass from the lateral wall. I am a damn student. I will not read the remaining part of MCQ. Am I understandable? Are you getting this point? Importance of revision, 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 revision. Why we are saying don't run behind multiple sources, go with the gold standard class notes. Why? Because these 7-8 lines given by the examiner, you can crack the MCQ with a single line. What is the most important statement given in the MCQ? Polypoidal mass from the lateral wall. So polypoidal mass from the lateral wall. Chances of inverted papilloma. Yes, absolutely right. One of the student updated in the chat box. It is inverted papilloma. It is coming from lateral wall. If it would be coming from the nasal septum, I will go for papilloma. Am I understandable? Are you getting this point? How to crack this long history? Polypoidal mass from the lateral wall, filling the nasal cavity, extend. Now, examiner is giving a long history, nice history, filling the left nasal cavity, extending to the right side via nasopharynx. What is the importance? Nothing. No. If lateral wall mentioned, polypoidal mass, jump on inverted papilloma. CT is giving you a locally advanced tumor of the left nasal cavity with the left maxillary sinus. Temporal bone was clear. Study the image and comment on the diagnosis. So examiner is giving you this type of polypoidal mass in the nasal cavity. So my all dear students, just make a concept. If the polypoidal mass is coming from the nasal cavity, from the lateral wall, it is more of your inverted papilloma. Definitely, beta, we will be updating you here. Why to have worry about this? One of the student is asking about INICT question. Beta, within few couple of hours, you will be getting all the MCQs. When the MCQs are from our class notes, beta, the whole team will update you all the MCQs. Nothing to worry, beta. Just consider it. So, what is the diagnosis? Inverted papilloma. If this mass would have been coming from the nasal septum, I will be going in the favor of nasal papillomas. If it is polypoidal, if now it is reddish mass, now I am giving you a differential diagnosis. If it is a reddish mass, so then it will be either capillary hemangioma or cavernous hemangioma. Are you getting this point? I'm not asking you to do mastery of pathology of capillary hemangioma, cavernous hemangioma, not at all. In ENT, if there is a reddish mass coming from nasal septum, from Litter's area, I will be making a diagnosis of capillary hemangioma. And if it is coming from inferior turbinate, I will be making a diagnosis of cavernous hemangioma. That's it. Are you getting this one? If you have attended my lecture in 5 points, the most common site for papilloma, sir, nasal septum. Most common site for papilloma, nasal septum. Most common tumor, capillary hemangioma. Where it is a capillary hemangioma? On the Litter's area. So on your septum is your papilloma. One is your capillary hemangioma. Now, which is a third MCQ? Most common site for malignant melanoma. Again, it is nasal septum. It means that if you are my student, if a mass is coming from the nasal septum, 3 points should hit your mind. Either it can be a papilloma, or it can be capillary hemangioma, or it can be malignant melanoma. And now how to differentiate these three clinical vignettes? A white polypodal mass, go for papilloma. Reddish mass, I will hit capillary hemangioma. Dark brownish word. Examiner have to mention this word to make a diagnosis of malignant melanoma. Along with that, malignant melanoma, he will be giving a typical history of epistaxis. So I can say epistaxis with reddish mass, I will be going for capillary hemangioma. Epistaxis with dark brownish mass, I will be going for here malignant melanoma. It is whitish mass. Epistaxis is not mentioned in the MCQ. I will go for papilloma. Am I understandable? On the lateral wall, which are the tumor? On the lateral wall, inferior turbinate is your cavernous hemangioma. And if some invasive growth is there, is not a tumor, but is a invasive, we go in the favor of inverted papilloma. So papillomas are coming from septum, but inverted papilloma is from the lateral wall, which is growing inverted form. So this is one very important MCQ in your JIPMER 2017. They have asked you which of the following is a false statement regarding inverted papilloma. So right answer of this MCQ will be I will be going in favor of inverted papilloma. What is the beauty of this tumor? Why the examiner every year there's one MCQ on inverted papilloma? Because it is a pre-malignant. It is a pre-malignant tumor. Always remember, it is a pre-malignant tumor. It is always pre-malignant. It is unilateral. Yes, it is unilateral. Pre-malignant tumor. Also, we call it as Ringer's tumor. Ringer's tumor, most common site, lateral wall. Lateral wall. What is the importance of lateral wall? So this wall again is a most common site for. Lateral wall is again most common site for malignancy. Which malignancy? Most common malignant tumor of nose. Most common malignant tumor of nose, squamous cell carcinoma. So nasal cavity, lateral wall, squamous cell carcinoma is there. And they have asked you, okay, they have given the Central Institute people, they always format nice MCQ. The MCQ was, which of the following is a false statement regarding inverted papilloma? And one statement was, it is known as inverted on gross appearance. Not at all. On gross appearance, it is identical. Can you appreciate beta? On gross appearance, it is identical. It is absolutely identical to your normal papilloma. If this is coming from your septum, I will label it as papilloma. So on gross appearance, it is identical. I want all my students who are listening to me at this platform, write in capital letter. It is known as inverted. It is known as inverted because of histopath, because of your microscopic appearance, not for the gross appearance. Am I understandable? Are you getting this point? One of the student is writing a basal cell carcinoma. No, most common tumor is squamous cell carcinoma. Beta. In nasal cavity, the most common tumor is squamous cell carcinoma. But if the examiner write these words in inverted commas, a tumor invading the skin, a tumor invading the skin. If this word is mentioned, most common malignancy of nose invading the skin. Which ulcer I am talking about? I am talking about basal cell carcinoma, rodent ulcer. So what is the keyword? Again, I just want to revise for you beta. If there is any MCQ on nasal cavity, how I always motivate my students to be a fast learner. Complete the topic in 5 minutes. Sir. Nasal malignancy, why to waste 2-3 hours? Nasal malignancy, 6-7 points are there. Capillary hemangioma, litters area, cavernous hemangioma, inferior turbinate, nasal septum is your malignant melanoma again, normal papilloma again on septum. Lateral wall, you are having cavernous hemangioma, you are having inverted papilloma, and your malignancy, most common tumor, that is squamous cell carcinoma. All tumor of the nose, treatment is surgery. How you approach? I give an incision along the lateral surface of nose. If I'm giving an incision along the lateral surface of nose, can I call it as lateral rhinotomy? Yes, we call it as lateral rhinotomy incision. So beta, in the last spell now, few days before your NEET examination, take my word, everyone should take today's examination as a motivation. Beta, nothing, we will not waste a single second on doing research of how was the INICT, why I couldn't perform well. Forget beta, that is past now. 9 to 12 is over. Now we have to prepare for the next examination. This is the way handle in the upcoming days. And if you start regretting I couldn't perform well, or take my words, my performance was not up to my expected, forget it, you will spoil the next game. So it is better we should concentrate in the upcoming days, just focus on revision. And today's examination proved this point. Yes, we have to focus on the revision segment. Inverted papilloma against papilloma, this is very important. Nasal septum, lateral wall, yes. Incidence of male is more than female in both the conditions. Most common age of distribution. Always remember, inverted papilloma is in the range of 40 to 60 years, while this is somewhere 30 to 50 years. Age is a important keyword, beta. Age is a important keyword which help you in cracking many MCQs in All India examination. So in NEET examination, just focus. Like I have taught you, I have shown you this mass 1-year-old child, pediatric patient, less than 2 years. Always suspect herniation of the brain tissue. Always suspect herniation of the brain tissue. Clear? So age helps a lot in making the diagnosis. Your inverted papilloma have a high risk of that is associated with your human papilloma virus, and there is chances of pre-malignancy. There is chance of pre-malignancy. Clear? So is it endophytic growth? It will be exophytic. Just remember these points I'm highlighting so that you people can crack the one-liner statements which would be given by examiner. Weber-Ferguson, one of the students is writing the Weber-Ferguson incident in your nasal cavity. No, but we are using for maxillary tumors. When there is a tumor in the maxilla, maxillary sinus will be using for Weber-Ferguson. Am I understandable? Or if your tumor from the nose is invading your maxillary sinus, like inverted papilloma, like squamous cell carcinoma, we will be going for the maxillary sinus. And just remember, beta, we are doing open approaches only for malignancy. Open approaches nowadays we are doing for malignancy. I hope you got the message behind the first MCQ. Teach you how to deal with the difficult topics. Everybody kindly update in the chat box with the first MCQ cleared. How to crack the first MCQ. The key word in the MCQ was a polypodal. Why? Polypodal mass from the lateral wall. We call it as bird's eye view. When you attempt this clinical vignettes, so you should focus on the keyword, and this come with the experience when you have revised notes again and again. Am I understandable? Coming on the next one, next MCQ, everyone kindly reply thumbs up, thumbs down. You're comfortable with the first MCQ in the chat box, all my 80 students. Yes. So clear. Coming back to the next one, next MCQ. Yeah, very lengthy history. Again, the length of the MCQ create a unwanted pressure, but yes, being a damn student, beta, if you have revised the notes, nothing to worry. Let us read in a fast mode now. A 31-year-old female, jumping on the words now. I'm jumping on the keywords. Radical mastectomy. Examiner is giving you the diagnosis. We have done modified radical mastectomy. So what I will conclude that this patient is unsafe ear. This patient is atticoantral ear. Dr. Kashish, beta, we will be discussing each and every point. Our full team, all the faculties, they are working on it. Shortly, we'll be updating your INICT paper with all the options, with all the answers. So just now focus on this session. So radical mastectomy, 2 months prior, so she was operated for atticoantral modified radical mastectomy. It means examiner is giving you a diagnosis that this patient is atticoantral, unsafe ear, atticoantral ear, agreed, atticoantral ear. Then the patient is giving now this patient is coming with 1 week history of foul smelling blood stain discharge. What is foul smelling blood stain ear discharge? Again, what is the importance of class notes? 4 words: blood stain, foul smelling, polyp Greenwich, going in the favor of atticoantral. Yes, my diagnosis is confirmed. Now she appeared ill with high spiky fever. High spiky fever, I have revised my notes nicely. Unsafe ear, atticoantral ear with high spiky fever, which my teacher was teaching me is known as picket fence fever. Picket fence fever. Picket fence fever means is it complicated. So now I am upgrading my diagnosis. I upgrade the diagnosis from atticoantral to atticoantral with complication. And which complication? I will be going for very good, nice, one of the student, lateral sinus thrombosis. I'll be going in favor of intracranial complication. Yes, very good, very nice response in the chat box, beta. It is intra. So I'm going a little bit slow in this MCQ, just teaching you the importance of each and every word given by the examiner. So high spiky fever with left post-auricular dehiscence. Yes, there is a fistula formation post-auricular behind pinna. What is the importance of this? Which MCQ is there in this line? Most common abscess is post-auricular abscess. We have 3-4 abscess which I'm going to teach you next 2-3 minutes. So just always remember, post-auricular abscess is one of the most common. Then it lead to discharging pus, sinus fistula formation is there. This patient is having torticollis, okay, associated with the fullness over the upper neck. Now, what is this one now? It means that the patient is having post-auricular abscess followed by patient is having the abscess from mastoid into the neck. So here neck is involved. So what will be the next level of diagnosis now? Atticoantral with lateral sinus thrombosis with abscess with pus in the neck. Am I understandable? In neck. So which part of the neck? Lateral part of the neck. So I can say this patient is going to have some abscess in the lateral wall. So we can call it as parapharyngeal abscess. There is one possibility. What I do on otoscopy, there was a amount of mucus purulent discharge was there in the middle ear. There was a perfuse ear discharge in the middle ear with mastoid cavity. Why? This patient is atticoantral beta. She should have your scanty discharge, but we have operated. We have done left modified radical mastoidectomy. Post surgery, the obstruction is ruled out now. We have just, you can take, we have increased the dimension of your adductors, and therefore the patient is having now perfuse ear discharge. Agreed. So what I go for? I go for urgent CT examination. On CT examination, there was a soft tissue in the left mastoid cavity and parapharyngeal space. That is abscess, parapharyngeal abscess. So what is the diagnosis of this patient? Diagnosis of this patient would be your atticoantral. I will not use the word unsafe. Nowadays, the safe unsafe classification is obsolete. Now we are using the word atticoantral. So what is the diagnosis of this patient? Diagnosis of this patient will be atticoantral ear with lateral sinus thrombosis with parapharyngeal abscess. So one is your extracranial complication, one is your intracranial complication. Examiner is giving you a nice slide. Built up a pressure, fistula behind pinna, followed by the examiner is giving you an image of tympanic membrane. Yes, then examiner is asking you what are the MCQ, long history. Examiner is telling you each and every point, and last he is asking all of the following statement are true regarding the diagnosis except. So always remember, beta, in clinical vignettes, in your new pattern MCQs in the upcoming NEET examination, focus whether the examiner is asking true or false statement. Very nice response coming in the chat box. Everybody is responding nicely. Okay. So what is the next point? Just listen carefully, beta. Everyone concentrate on the book. Which of the following is a true statement? Which of the following is a true statement? So we have to, which of the following? All of the following are the true except. So we have to search for the false statement. So let us read one by one. Meningitis is the most common. Meningitis is the most common intracranial complication. If meningitis is most common intracranial, second most common brain abscess. Many they have given other way around. Most common is here meningitis. It is not brain abscess. Is a true statement. Let me refresh from my side 1 second. So this is true statement. Ironing of mastoid is the most common sign. No sir, most common sign. What is the most common sign? Most common sign is your, yes, you tell me, mastoid inflamed. What is the most common sign? We have most common sign tenderness. We have most common sign tenderness. We have the most common sign of tenderness. Just 1 second. Let me refresh from my side. 1 second. Just give me 1 minute. So here tenderness is the most common. So when mastoid is inflamed, always remember these two important points. Just give me 1 minute. So whenever the mastoid is inflamed, you will be having tenderness. Yes, agreed. Then next point, everybody should reply. Just in the chat box. Here, ironing of the mastoid. If the mastoid is inflamed, the most common sign is your tenderness, and ironing of the mastoid is the earliest sign. Am I understandable? So this is a false statement. Now examiner can ask you which is the hallmark finding. Now what is the hallmark finding of mastocytitis? There is a inflammation from behind. When there is a inflammation from behind, it will be pressurized. It will be pressurized. So when it is pressurized, what we call it as, this is your external auditory canal. We use a word sagging of the canal. We use a word sagging of the canal. We use a word sagging of the canal. Comfortable till now, beta? So most common sign is your tenderness. Earliest sign is ironing, and hallmark sign is sagging of the canal if we are dealing with the mastocytitis. There is no increase in CSF pressure during compression of the internal jugular vein. What I am teaching you in lateral sinus thrombosis, when there is a thrombosis between, so there is no increase in the pressure. So there is no increase in CSF pressure. So always remember, this is what we call as Tauber-Ayer sign. We use a word Tauber-Ayer sign. We use a word Tauber-Ayer sign. Is a true statement. HRCT is the investigation of choice. HRCT is the investigation of choice if patient is having diplopia, if diplopia is present. What does it mean? It means here diplopia, 6th nerve, 5th nerve, ear discharge. We have Gradnego triad. So what is Gradnego triad, beta? What is Gradnego triad? Your petrous bone is involved. Petrous bone is involved. And if petrous bone is involved, it means that the patient is having Gradnego triad. What will be the investigation? The investigation will be your HRCT. Absolutely true. Absolutely true. Am I understandable? Now always remember, this is the answer will be the B option. There's a long history. Examiner is giving you a typical history of unsafe ear atticoantral with ear lateral sinus thrombosis with abscess formation. Which abscess formation? That is ear parapharyngeal abscess. Parapharyngeal abscess. Clear? Coming on the next point after learning this, I am showing you if the pathology, always remember, if the pathology is in the lower part. If the pathology is in the lower part, what we call it as tubotympanic ear. We use a word tubotympanic ear. Tubotympanic ear if it is in the lower part. So what will be the treatment? We go for tympanoplasty. Always remember, tympanoplasty. Tympanoplasty with OCR, ossicular chain reconstruction, if the disease is in the lower part. Always have a basic funda, beta. If the disease is in the upper part, we call it as atticoantral. Now in this patient, the disease is in the upper part, atticoantral. So if you go in the depth of this anatomy, this is my middle ear. This is my middle ear. This is my mastoid. And if your mastoid is involved, and from where is the infection coming? The source of infection is your ET tube. ET tube is there. So whenever the infection is coming from ET tube into middle ear, if the lower part of middle ear is involved, if this part is involved, it means we can treat the patient. We can treat the patient. We call it as tubotympanic ear. We use a word tubotympanic ear. We use a word tubotympanic. And what will be the treatment? So treatment is we have to just repair the middle ear. We have to repair the middle ear, tympanoplasty. We use a word tympanoplasty with OCR, ossicular chain reconstruction. Ossicular chain reconstruction. Am I understandable? But now if the disease enter into the epitympanum, and from epitympanum it is going into mastoid, it is going in this area. So what we call, we can't control the disease. Disease is beyond our control. Disease is beyond our control. So we use a word atticoantral. So always remember, when the upper part is involved, I use a word atticoantral ear. And what is the treatment for atticoantral? Atticoantral, we have to, for everybody should tell me, mastoidectomy. Now which mastoidectomy is commonly done? Canal wall down or canal wall up? Make a concept. We always go for canal wall down procedure. Which canal wall down is used? We are going for modified radical mastoidectomy. We are going for modified radical mastoidectomy. Modified radical mastoidectomy. Clear? So these are the images of your unsafe ear, images of unsafe ear. Par flaccida. Sometimes you need people, they give a MCQ. Pinpoint perforation in par flaccida. So never go with the pinpoint word. If par flaccida involved means the disease is unsafe. Is your atticoantral. Am I understandable? Now this is what is ironing of the mastoid. When I touch the mastoid, it feel like warm and smooth. So this finding is my earliest sign. Always remember. Clear? From mastoid, once the pus is there in the mastoid, it rupture the base. Once it rupture the base, it come in the neck. And depending on the muscle it is coming, we label the abscess. Like it is coming along sternocleidomastoid. If it is coming along sternocleidomastoid, we use a word dissolved abscess. And if it is coming along osteovalley of digastric, we use a word Sittelis abscess. If it is coming in the external auditory canal, we use a word Lux abscess, Luc apostrophe s. And if it is behind pinna, we call it as post auricular abscess, which is most common. Always remember, beta, it is most common abscess, post auricular abscess. Why I'm teaching you this again? Just remember, we have to focus on the keywords. We should concentrate on the keywords. If we are learning in the last few days left before your next NEET examination, but just remember, focus on the keywords. The last MCQ, let's discuss this one. I have taken one MCQ from the year one. Let us take the last one, is from your larynx. Clear? I hope you are getting my message. 8-year-old child with no history of vocal abuse, with a chief complaint of change in voice hoarseness for the last 3 months, which is progressively increasing in severity. But this is a keyword. If a child is having change in voice, which is increasing, just 1 second, let me refresh, which is increasing in severity, it means that either there is some mass, some malignancy in the larynx which is growing in size, or it can be any inflammation. Am I understandable? So we should have two options, but there is no history of high-grade fever and anything in the MCQ. So I'll be going more of the tumor side, your benign tumor, or it may be malignancy. Carcinoma larynx, it's more than in the age group of 60 years. Now MCQ, they have mentioned 8 years. So I can rule out the, again, carcinoma larynx in this patient. So one option comes that there is some benign tumor in the larynx which is increasing in size, leading to which the patient is having increased difficulty in, am I understandable? Are you getting this point? Your change in voice, clear hoarseness is in parents are giving the history of episode of breathlessness. Patient is having some difficulty in breathing since the age of 7 years. Since last 1 year, the child is having difficulty in breathing. Change in voice with dysphagia. It means somewhere with dyspnea, change in voice with dyspnea. It means we are going somewhere the glottic segment. Patient have some pathology in the glottic segment. On endoscopy, we have multiple papillomas along the vocal cord bilaterally, as shown in the given slide. Which of the following is not appropriate statement? Again, we have to search false statement. So what exam is showing you? Typical image of papillomatosis, most common benign tumor. Am I understandable? Is papillomatosis. Juvenile, recurrent juvenile papillomatosis. That topic in your upcoming NEET examination, one MCQ can be there from this topic. Is the most common benign tumor. Which virus is associated? Have human papilloma virus. So always remember which number is there. 11 and 6 are associated with your human papilloma virus. Now we differentiate this papillomatosis with senile papillomatosis. If you see the senile, there is a single mass is there. So in juvenile, it is multiple. So which are the important features of juvenile papillomatosis? Always remember, they are multiple. They always resolve of their own, and they reoccur. So just everyone please write the 3 hallmark feature. three hallmark feature of juvenile papillomatosis. Juvenile papillomatosis, they are multiple, they are multiple, they resolve spontaneously, they reoccur spontaneously. They reoccur spontaneously. Am I understandable? Are you getting this point? Just give me 1 minute. Yeah, resolve. But senile, if you compare with the senile, they are single. They are single. They never resolve, never reoccur, never resolve, never reoccur. So examiner is giving you a typical history. Examiner is giving you a typical history of your papillomatosis, is giving a typical history of papillomatosis, and examiner is asking what is a false statement. Intra-lesion pseudophore is helpful in reducing the reoccurrence. Absolutely true statement. This have a pre-malignant potential. Yes, again a true statement. Microlaryngeal surgery with CO2 laser is primary modality of treatment. Absolutely true. It is purely glottic, always in glottic segment. Not at all. Am I understandable? So this is a, for among these four options, the best option is your D option, is your D option. Am I understand? Papillomatosis, again, very important topic. Senile, juvenile. It is a pre-malignant associated with, and one of the most important clinical point what they can ask you, they will be asking you, will you intubate? Will you intubate this patient? No, we will not intubate. I will be going for patient have difficulty now. Sometimes the patient coming your ENT department, they are having dyspnea, their difficulty in breathing is there, so we have to for tracheostomy. So always remember, in this patient we never intubate, why? Because there will be seedling of the human papillomavirus in the lower respiratory tract, I hope you are getting the whole concepts. Comfortable till now, beta, every student? On the other side, so this is my typical image of senile. This is a typical image of senile where it is only one papilloma is there, only one papilloma is there. Am I understand? So these were the three MCQs where I tried my best to give you a message, focus on the keywords. All these students sitting with me, just take a strong message, with, okay, we have to focus on the what should be the strategy in the last spell. Just remember, beta, just in the last spell the strategy should be, we will be only restricting ourselves to our class notes, beta. In last few days don't add anything, beta. No, in last few days it is better if whatever you have done, whatever you have made your class notes, you revise them properly. Am I understandable? Are you getting this point? In last spell, don't run behind multiple sources. It is better whatever you have done, revise again and again. On an average, try to do 50 to 70 MCQs every day. 70 MCQs every day, every student. Am I understandable? If you are uncomfortable with any topic, don't waste your time for a topic where you're uncomfortable. Make a big cross, okay, I will not touch this topic again, because in last spell we have to be very professional. Am I understandable? If I'm uncomfortable with one topic, I will leave that topic. But if there is one MCQ, we'll leave that MCQ. But it should not happen, okay, at the cost of this difficult one topic we are losing other MCQs. Am I understandable? Are you getting this one? In the last spell, try to do some type of learning. It helps a lot. What is combo type of learning? Okay, I will be taking few topics of ENT. Like I'm very uncomfortable with any subject like biochemistry or PSM, but I am comfortable with ophthalmology, radiology. I will take few chapters of radiology, along with I will combine with few chapters of my difficult topics. So if you do in a instead of learning one topic for 5 to 6 days, somewhere your run rate, somewhere your speed comes on the side. So I always recommend in the last spell, it is always advisable with the combo. Don't have the phobia of the change in the pattern. Whatever the pattern will be there, the concepts will remain same. The way of asking the concept, way of asking the MCQ may change, but underlying concept will remain same. So I always boost up your confidence. I always say this word, in last spell, never ever have the, you can see, a phobia of the new pattern. Always be confident, beta. You will have done lots of hard efforts, and you have done lots of hard effort in COVID era where it was very difficult. We were under big pressure, but you have done hard work. That hard work will not be wasted. I promise you, beta, that hard work not be wasted. But yes, this is not an easy game. Upcoming days for NEET examination or INICT examination, next INICT examination, take my word, if we take, yeah, if we are decided, okay, yeah, we are ready, whatever hard time will be there, we will be facing that hard time, we will be ready to face this pressure. Take my word, beta, this game will be simple, this game will be easy for you. So very best wishes for all these students. This is the last spell bit. I know most of the students are under pressure, or after today's INICT, most of these students may be, you can say, having negative thoughts, okay, we couldn't give our best performance. Take my word, beta, don't use any, we have to play the game, which is the upcoming NEET examination. We hold the DAMS family is with you till your selection in All India, your NEET examination. But the point is, okay, you have to take special efforts in the last spell. Am I understandable? Thanks a lot for listening to me. Stop at this point. Thank you, everyone.